Hey guys, my name's Gavin, welcome back to a brand new video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a trippy REDD style guitar beat, something like a producer like MIRA would make. Yeah, follow me on Instagram if you haven't already, at gavinhadley_, and without further ado, let's get into it. So I was messing around on the guitar and I came up with this. I'm going to try to play it to the best of my ability right now. It's going to need to get polished. I've only been playing guitar for a few months, so bear with me here. Alright, so it's gonna be something like that. I'm gonna have to polish it up, obviously. And then here is like the arpeggiated part that is gonna be where the main melody that I create ends up going. Alright, so extremely rough played. I'm gonna record it into Ableton, quantize it, and then I'll get back to you guys. Alright, so I recorded the guitars and I ended up having some OBS issues, so I'm going to do a really good job of breaking this down for you guys instead, and I think you guys are actually going to get a little bit more out of this version, just because this is a really simple loop, and I just kind of want to capitalize on a couple points that make this loop cool and unique from other loops, and yeah, let's do that. So here is the unaffected version, so this is what it sounds like after being quantized. First thing I did was take out harsh frequencies that are located around like the 200-300 hertz range. Just a little frequency right there that was making it sound a little harsh. After that, I just put a delay on it. Delays are super useful for just giving stuff a lot more presence just beyond what they're playing. It just use delays on your loops. They're super cool. So for this, I did a 4-step, I'm pretty sure, and then I turned it to invert here. Normally I don't do that. I usually do ping pong, but I was experimenting today. I used invert and then I turned down the volume so it isn't super overwhelming. I just want like a nice subtle delay there to just build up the background of the sound. And after that, I just put RC20 on it, distorted it a little bit to give it a little bit more punch, and then a little noise too. After that, I just have reverb in it. I think reverb is super useful for just, I don't know, making stuff sound just a lot better, honestly. Just a little bit of reverb there, a lot of dries, a little bit of wet, and turn down the mix knob over here, something super subtle, and then I just have one last EQ, cutting out a little bit more of these low ends that we don't need, and then boosting the high frequencies to give it a little bit more crispiness. And then for the strumming part, that is right here, I just have an EQ taking out low ends. It's just a nice shelf there, and then I have a harsh frequency that was right here, and I guess I'll show you guys how I search for harsh frequencies. I know it's right here, but you basically just get this sort of scanner going, and you just so you can hear something like right there. So that is that. I should have added like a little bit of reverb to this, but I don't know, I like the way it sounds still. So I duplicate this beneath it and I pitch it up an octave. So this is just the same guitar melody up. Sounds super ambient though because I added crystallizer. I used the muffled up octave preset. Echo Boy, this is probably my favorite plugin right now. It's just super cool. I love using the area bathroom preset and then delay as well on that again. And I have the same thing going on for the strumming part underneath again. So we just have those two high octave parts there. And now I have a little top line that I play. This is what it sounds like. Alright, so I didn't end up recording this part just because top lines on guitars, at least for me right now, at the spot that I'm at, it's just super time consuming to record one. And yeah, I'll show you the effects that I put on it though. I tried to keep it really simple, not doing too much. Alright, so this is the right one. So I just have crystallizer on it, muffled up octave. It's super good for just giving the guitar melodies just, I don't know, more of like a, mixing in like a bell tone a little bit and just keeping that same guitar tone, and I have it turned down a lot obviously so it's not super overpowering. Then after that I just have Echo Boy, the area bathroom preset, and then a little bit of delay on it as well. And now for the strumming part, I felt like it needed a little bit more low end, so I just added this. It's just the same like technique, duplicating a unique one underneath, but except instead of pitching it up an octave, I pitched it down an octave. This is what it sounds like. It was a little bit too much before I added this EQ. I just took out low end. This is what it sounds like before it. So it's like super like obnoxious low end that we don't need there. So yeah, that's that, and that is basically the guitar parts. Alright, so now I can talk about the vocals, and I am going to do a whole nother video. Probably my next video is going to be on vocals again, because I've learned a lot since I made my last one in July, and I just feel like I've grown a lot as a producer since then. So I owe you guys a little bit more of an in-depth tutorial that's going to share a bunch of new ideas that I've learned since then. But the vocals that I came up with, here they are. Really, honestly, what I do is I just loop the loop a bunch of times going through the playlist, and then I'll just hum random things into the microphone until I come up with something I like, and then I'll build off that. So this is what these sound like. Right, so that's what I have, and then the effects that I put on it. Right here, I have Fruity Delay 2, Crystallizer, Muffled Up Octave. I really like using that still. Area Bathroom again, Fruity Delay 2, and then an EQ that's going to take out a lot of those low ends and high ends that we don't need. And it's going to make it just sound overall just more cohesive and in place in the loop. I mess around with pitching stuff up, so like these right here, these are pitched up, and all of these, but like for this I just left it at my normal singing pitch, and I feel like it can work super well when you blend those two back and forth, like the mix of the high and then the normals right here, and then these are all normals. And then with this one, I had it underneath the guitar. I added Ozone 8 elements, and then I widened it up by pressing the stereoize button right here, because everything's like that I record is recorded in mono, so I changed it to stereo and then widened it a little bit. Just gave it a little bit more presence in the strumming part, because I felt like it needed it, because the strumming part itself didn't have too much going on other than the strumming, and then a bass that I'll talk about here in a second, and I think maybe another counter melody. But the bass, moving on to that, just following the bass notes, obviously. It's just like a simple bass tone from Omnisphere, and I did a little rhythm with it. Yeah, so that just repeats for the strumming part as well. And now I just have this one last melody here. So this is like super subtle. Honestly, probably not even necessary, but honestly, this on its own would make a cool melody. So it's really subtle, tucked back. After that, I just added a texture here. It's just like a white noise kind of thing. Turned it down a lot. That's what it sounds like. And that's basically the loop. I just laid it out. I have like everything playing here, including the strumming part, and then I have just the arpeggiated part, and then just the strumming part, and then one part at a time. Exported it into a loop, and I will see you in the new FLP to put some drums on it. Alright, so quickly before we continue the drums here, I just want to talk about one thing I did here. So with this drummed part, I really like it, but I thought for the actual melody itself, it needed to be tamed a little bit in terms of like the high end frequencies. So I just put a little love filter on it, and that's what it does. Just tamed it up a little bit, and I like the way it sounds. So yeah, let's get into the drums. So I just went in, I laid in a simple clap pattern here, just normal claps, hi-hats that are gonna get decked out here in a second, and then an 808 pattern, super simple, just following the root notes that I showed for the bass when we were in the other FLP a second ago. I'm using the cutthroat 808. I really like it because of the tone that it has. It's like sort of a bell tone mixed in with it. I think it's like a super cool, unique 808 that has a lot of life to it. So that's why I'm using that. Just a simple pattern. So that's that, and then I have a kick, and my kick's hitting over 0 decibels, like that. Now I'm also going to show you guys what I have on my master. So I don't normally do drums, but what I do is I put a soft clipper. I have it at like the normal setting, so it'd be like this, but we're going to pretend like it's not for a second. Actually, I can just put it down and then fix it. And then I open up a limiter above it. I put all these down, and then I lower the ceiling slightly until it starts getting a little bit of distortion, but not really too much. And then I go in here, because this is gonna like lower the overall ceiling, so I go in here and then push the overall ceiling back up. Like if you look here, it's not hitting at 0, so I just move it up to it. And then I just have an EQ boosting a little bit of high ends, making it sound a little bit more crispy. And yeah, so now we can continue now that we have all that out of the way. And I also don't have my kicks play on every single 808. I vary it up just to give a little bit more bounce to the drums. But yeah, let's do some hi-hat rolls here. And it's also important to note that we're at 180 BPM, so I don't want to do anything too crazy because this is a higher tempo. If I do something a lot more complex with a lot of stuff going on, it's just not going to sound good. So I'm not going to do that. Alright, so I like the way that sounds. Just going to duplicate this over here. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in a snare. I like that sound. Alright, so now we're going to mess around with this guy. Alright, so this has a little bit of pitchiness to it, so I'm going to go in here, check and see what the note actually is. It's an F for the most part, so we're going to tune this sound to F and treat it almost like a one shot, but not really. We're just going to use it like only like at one spot. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is pitch it up like this, and then go in here and Alright, so yeah, I think that's pretty much the beat. Hopefully you guys liked what I came up with today. Comment down below what you guys would like to see next from me. And yeah, I think that's all I got. Check out my kits. They're going to be linked down in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Julian, welcome back.